This tutorial talks about working with sheet metal and bending items and coming up with flat patterns. We're going to make this item here. It's very similar to the item we made in the previous tutorial, only this time we're going to make it out of bent sheet metal. So what we should do first is go ahead and reverse engineer this part. So we're going to pull this up to our first item, and this is what we're going to make. We're going to go down and add this end to it. We're going to cut some holes through the sides, cut a hole through the top, can add some bottom pieces, cut some more holes, and then add some fillets. And then we'll soften up these edges inside. Also, we're going to show you how to look at the flat pattern of a bent sheet metal part. And then at the very end of the video, we'll show you how to save it as a DXF file to send to the laser or the water jet. So let's open SolidWorks. Open up a new part. You can use the tutorial. I'm going to use this part. Let's start on the front plane. And we're going to draw the shape of our first part of our sheet metal. Click on the line, hold down Control key, click on the origin. Draw some more lines for the sides. Click on the line, hold down the Control key, click on the line, click equal. Dimension the item, we're going to go with 11 inches. And we're going to go with 4 inches. So we just created a shape. Now we're going to click on the sketch and highlight the sketch. Then we're going to go to sheet metal. Now if you don't see this, right click anywhere in this area on one of those buttons and you can check it and turn on the sheet metal. If you want to get rid of items, click in an area up there anywhere and then hit the check button or check it off and get rid of it. So let's click in sheet metal. Now we're going to highlight the sketch and we're going to click the base flange tab. Now you might not see direction 1, so click those little arrows and you'll see it. And we're going to make this 6.625. Thickness of our metal is 0.104. We can reverse that direction. It's easier to see if we look right at it. You can see our guidelines there, the little blue lines. We can either have the metal inside those lines, so it holds to the 4 inches by 11 inches, or we can put it on the outside, so the inside of the metal will be 4 inches by 11 inches. It's your choice. You can always change it later. And that right there is what the punch will be that goes and bends this. We could make it 1/16 of an inch, a little tighter bend, I like a little looser bend. So let's do 0.125 radius of the punch tool. And since my metal's 0.136, let's make it 0.136. Now it's 6.625, but I kind of like it to go the other direction, this direction over here. I could slide it over there. I rarely do that. I usually just change it up here with this button. I can make it go whatever way I want. Let's set it back to 6.625. 0.065. I see I changed that a little bit. We'll leave it. That's good enough for now. We can always change it later. And there's our item. We can flatten it. Gives us some guidelines where it would be bent. Now we're going to add this part to it. So we'll go to the top view and we'll click on it because that's where we want to add it. Click on sketch, sketch again. Let's go to where that bend starts. We don't want to go past that or it'll notch it. So we can see that where the little orange dotted lines are, that's about where we need to go. Click on the center line, wake it up, and then click on it. There you go. Now that was just a guideline. Now here's the back piece of the where the plate's going to end up. Hold down Control key, click on the dot, and hit midpoint. We're going to run it up 2 more inches. Going to connect to that other line. I'm going to do it on the other side now. I'm just hitting Escape key whenever I want to get done with these lines. I just, right now, hit the Escape key, then it goes away. Let's dimension that at 45 degrees. And because we have the 2 inches there in the midpoint relation on the back line to the front line, the other angle will be 45 degrees as well. All the lines are black, so we know it's fully dimensioned. Click on the sketch to highlight it. Now we could go to there, but we don't want to do that. We want to go to sheet metal still because we started a sheet metal part. Click on the base flange tab. It automatically follows the way the metal's going to go. And there it is. Next, we're going to draw some holes in the item on the sides. So it's like, let's do it like we did in the part on the last tutorial. Let's do it with the side first. We start a sketch on the side. Then we're going to bring up a center line from the bottom. We're doing it a little different than the last tutorial. Many ways to do the same thing. Click on the line, click on the dot, click on midpoint, holding down the Control key. Let's add some circles where the holes are going to be. Hold down the Control key, click on the circles, hit equal. We'll make them 2 inches. And then we'll dimension their distance apart. I tape these ahead of time and then I put the audio on, so I'm just kind of stuttering here because I don't know what's coming up next a lot of times. So we're going to change this to 1 inch, but we really want it 1 7/8 inch. So 1 plus 7 divided by 8. And then we press enter and it does the math for us, 1.875. No big deal there, but if you need like 15/64, it comes in kind of handy. Alright, so we're going to run these all the way to the other side. We're going to cut all the way through to that other side. So make sure the sketch is highlighted. Go to extruded cut. It doesn't have to be in the sheet metal area. Any extruded cut will work. And then up to this next surface. And there you go. Just like the previous tutorial, we cut the holes through both sides. We can flatten it. You see it'll cut the holes where it needs to be, and even with your bend deductions or your part will end up correct when you bend it. Now those holes right there, let's go ahead and delete them, because in my videos we do the same thing over and over. Now let's put that sketch right there at the right in the middle. So we right click on the sketch and then go up to Edit Sketch Plane. And then we click on it. And it says it's on face number 1. It is showing there. Now we want it on the right plane, which is really kind of in the center. It is in the center of the part. Click the green arrow, and now we've moved the sketch over to that plane. It's that simple. It holds all the relations, everything. So works great. Click on the sketch. Click on Features, Extruded Cut. Now this time we're going to go up to surface one way. And then for direction 2, we're going to go up to surface the other way. So there's another way to cut the same holes. If the sketch is showing, click on it, click on Hide, and it'll go away. So we did the same thing one more time. But we're going to do it again a different way. Now that we've moved the sketch directly in the center, we can hit Extruded Cut, and then we can do Through All Both. And we did the same thing one more time. We can flatten it. Next, we're going to add this little vent hole on the top. So we're going to go up here to the top. Click on it. Click on Normal 2 so it's a better view. Click on Sketch. I'm going to make a center line, or I like to call them guidelines. And then let's use a polygon. But instead of 6-sided, let's go ahead and make this, how about 8-sided? Now we don't want it pointing on the top, we want it kind of flat on the top. So hit the escape key and get you out of the polygon. There we go. And you can actually move this around. But you can set up a relation so that you have a flat edge facing up as you're looking at it. So we click on the horizontal, and there you go. And then we dimension it by dimensioning the circle inside of it. So that takes it from one flat edge to the next. The other side, let's make it 1 plus 5/8, so 1.625. Now we could dimension it from the center of the circle to the edge. If you do that, that would be one way we could do it. But we're more concerned about how far that edge is right there from this other edge. So why not just dimension it from there? Well, if you get a little screw up, no big deal. You probably didn't do anything wrong. Just try it over again. Click on that, and then click up here on this other edge. There we go. And we wanted a 1/2 inch, 0.5 inches away from that edge. So you don't have to dimension from the center all the time. You can dimension from one edge to the other edge if that's the point that matters to you. I have a bad cough, so I'm just really stumbling through this, stuttering, because I'm trying to keep from coughing. So anyway, highlight the sketch, and you can go up to the Extruded Cut in Sheet Metal, or you can go to the Extruded Cut in Features. It doesn't matter with the cuts. You can use either one you want. So we're going to use the one in Features. But there's this interesting thing. With sheet metal, you have a link to thickness, because you set your metal thickness. So any of these cuts that you make, you can go ahead and set them to the thickness. If it's just going through the metal, now those sides wouldn't have worked because we were going all the way from one side to the other side. So you would have had to do one side at a time. But for now, let's just try that length to thickness. And as you see, it's just kind of like going from surface to surface. And it cuts right through. It's kind of handy on some parts. That way, if you change the thickness of your sheet metal, your cuts won't only go partially through if you're using a blind depth. So as you can see, you can flatten it. Everything looks good. And we have that. Next, we're going to put these little tabs or feet onto this little TV monitor stand. But I haven't been saving the part. I would have suggested long ago to save the part if I would have noticed, but save your part a lot. Do it right away so you don't lose all your work. So we'll go ahead and save it now. But now we're going to put those little feet on. Tabs, edges, whatever you want to call them. So we're going to use this edge flange. It's going to ask us for which edges we want to put it on. And we can pull it either direction. We can use all these features, but for right now, pick your edges. We're going to pick there. We can slide it this way or that way, but we want it to come in. Click it there. Now we could have stopped there, but we can do both of them at the same time. And we just click on that edge, it'll make them equal, so we can make them both the same length. If you wanted them different lengths, it might be easier just to do them one at a time. Let's go ahead and set them to be 1 inch. And there's some interesting things here. It's best if you just play with those, then you'll see what they do. Same with this material outside. We're going to use the material inside. Sometimes you do the bend outside, but you have to play with it. If you're doing sheet metal, you should understand sheet metal, but do the material inside, because what it's going to do is it's going to keep all the material inside of our 11 inches there. So that's what we're going to use. This part wasn't so crucial on that, but those first two edges we did, if we would have made them through this way, would have mattered. I'm explaining too much here, just kind of follow the video and you'll see. They just click on the two lines and they'll kind of happen for you. There you go. Best way to do is just get in there and play with that, try different settings. So I chatted a lot there, so we're going to do it again really quick here. So to start off, we go to sheet metal, hit edge flange, click on the lines to get some edge flanges, set up their length at 1 inch. We're keeping the settings. Click the green arrow. So it's that easy. Save your part. You can flatten. And you see, it gives you all the little bend lines. In your drawing, if you made a drawing from this, it would tell you exactly how far you need to set your CNC press brake to bend those. Now we're going to put in these little holes in the bottom in case you wanted to screw in some little rubber feet to this or wheels or whatever you want. So we need to go down and do it off of that edge. So hit the edge, hit normal 2. It'll kind of take you right to it. Click on it. Click on sketch. Now, if we use that line there, we can probably use the midpoint of that and use a rectangle guideline to make our holes. Kind of speed up the process. So if we click in the center of that now, pull out a rectangle, and don't do anything, leave it highlighted light blue like that, and click on for construction, and it'll make it the dotted lines, the guideline. Now we can draw our circles on that, and it'll hold them all together. Little time saver. Once again, hit escape if you need to get out of the circles. It's still making circles. Hit your escape key. Hold down the control key, click on all the circles, click equal. And now all you have to do is dimension one of them. And we want to make it a little bigger, so let's make it 3 divided by 16, or 3/16, or 0.1875. That math is kind of handy if you're using fractions. So this is where it matters. So it's dimension from there, to the center of the circle. Let's make it 0.5. Once again, not set in stone. You can change all this stuff later. And let's make this 0.5. And then let's go ahead and go through that. Now, since we used the link to thickness, it'll probably still hold that. So if we click on Extrude to Cut in Sheet Metal, yeah, it went automatically to link to thickness. Now, we don't like that hole. It's a little close to the edge. No big deal. Go down. Right-click on the sketch. Click on the sketch to open it. Just go down there and find the dimension you don't like and change it. And since we use that little guideline rectangle, all we have to do is change one and it changes them all. There you go. Now we're going to put some fillets on this because we don't want any sharp edges to catch on cords or fingers or arms or anything. So let's go ahead and set these fillets. Let the laser or the water jet cut them for us, so we're not having to worry about them. And let's do some on the back, but let's make those a little bit larger. How about a radius of 0.5? Kind of soften up the edges a little here. There we go. Now we're going to have a cord running through this back hole. So let's soften up those edges as well. That'll make it a little easier to run our deburring tool. If you happen to hit the wrong thing and it turns a big blue area, just click on it again, it'll go away. There we go. Now we have the top hole. We can flatten it. Everything's holding true. You click flatten again to make it go back. Now if you don't understand bin deduction, read them, because your metal won't be 11 inches plus 4 inches plus 1 inch. It'll actually have less metal or more metal depending on the number of bins, because you have things that are called bin allowances or bin deductions. But what we care about is this 11 inches, and that's going to hold true. So when the laser cuts this metal, it's when you bend it up with the bend lines that it gives, it'll give you 4 inches by 11 inches. So when we drew it to be able to measure it, that's why we set it up this way. So we could check to make sure that our finished part now would be the correct dimensions. Let's check the weight. So if we go to mass properties, we can see that it says it's 0.61 pounds. Now, I think that's like a water weight. It's just a normal weight when there's no material set. So you need to set a material weight. So go to material and click on it, right click on it, click on edit material, or you can use one of these that are down here in your favorites. To manage your favorites, you just go to manage favorites and then go up to SolidWorks materials, pick a material you want to add to it, click on it, and then click on add. And I'm not going to do it because I already have my favorites done. So I'm just going to go to my material, right click on it, and then I'm going to go down to A36 steel. Now that may not be the exact thing for this, Could have been cold rolled or hot rolled, but we're just using it as an example. Now we're going to measure it. The mass properties. Now it's going to be 4.79 pounds. That's not going to change a lot from this to cold rolled or hot rolled. But it is going to change a lot if we change this to aluminum, 6061 T6. This is a great way to see if you want to make your part out of aluminum or steel, or what it's going to weigh when it's done. Works in assemblies too, 1.65 pounds. I use this all the time. People want to know how much their things are going to weigh when they get all put together. So there you go. Gives it a nice little view. It kind of looks like aluminum. If you don't like it, you can get rid of the remove appearance. It's no big deal on this aluminum, but when you get some of the darker colors, you know, it's harder to see. Like, not so much on bronze, but you can change it to whatever you want. Just because it says it's aluminum, you can give it a bronze or a purple or anything you want. If you don't like it, hit undo. So your colors aren't, it gives it a color when you give it a material, but you don't have to keep that color. In a future tutorial, we'll show you all about colors and textures. So that's our item. Now we're going to go ahead and get rid of that aluminum finish. You don't have to, I just wanted to show you how to do it. Remember, it stayed aluminum for the material, so your weights and everything will stay the same. Just makes it a little easier to see if you're going to work on some more items here. Now, make sure to save it. You see that little star up there next to the TV stand when you hit save, and that goes away, so now it's saved. Now we're going to save this as a DXF file, an AutoCAD legacy type file. So I like typing what it is in front of it. It just helps me find it. You don't have to do this, but I like doing that. And then we're going to go up to DXF and click on that. Now it's going to save it as a DXF. If you look at the options here, we pull those down. I use the 2000 to 2002. It seems to work on most machines just fine. So if you use those settings, it seems to work on everything you send it to. So now it's going to save as a DXF. And you can choose some different settings here. I'm just going to save it like this. It'll probably work just fine. Something you can play with, different items there. It kind of calculates for a little while and gives you a preview. And if you like the preview, go ahead and hit save. And now it's done. You have a DXF you can send to a laser or to the water jet. Now mine comes as an eDrawings icon, but it's a DXF file. Those are just my video capture items that I use to make this video. And there you go.